Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Rover Turbo. In this video we're back on the wife's car, the Astra J 1.6 CDTi. I've done a previous video on an underboost, a P0299 code I believe. I'll put a link up here. So that's sort of like a part one to this, and this is a continued because I've still got the problem. I thought it went away. When I cleaned the sensor, it seemed better, but then it came back. I then cleaned the DPF. I didn't clean it properly, I just done it in situ, and it seemed to be a lot better. There was a lot more power there throughout the rev range, because that's another problem we've had with this car. It just seems to be underpowered generally, and her MPG was going down. So I cleaned the DPF out. I meant to take the DPF off and clean it properly, but I never got round to it because it looked like that had solved the problem. Power was back, MPG went back up, and it hasn't, the code of the engine management light, it hasn't gone into limp mode for a couple of months at least, and she drives it a lot. She does like 12,000 miles a year, which isn't a lot, but you know, it's a reasonable amount of distance. She uses it every day. So the other day she said to me, the engine management light's come back on and it's gone back into limp mode. I was driving down the motorway, down the slip road, I was accelerating up to 2,000 RPM, all of a sudden, bleh, power goes, limp mode, engine management light on, and you have to drive it at reduced power, and then you sort of turn ignition off, wait a bit, turn it back on, and then it's fine. The engine management light is on now, so I'm going to scan the codes on it, and I'm going to check that it is the P0299 code, the same as it was before. I'm going to replace the boost control module. That's the next port of call. It goes against everything that I believe in to replace it, because I don't understand how it's that when it works fine most of the time, and then it can work for months, and then I don't understand, and it always happens in exactly the same scenario, but not all the time. So I don't think it can be a heat issue or a load issue, or I don't know. I mean, this has got 165,000 miles on it. It's probably never been replaced, this sensor, like most of the stuff on this car, apart from service stuff, hasn't been replaced. So to be fair, it's done really, really well. So anyway, it's here for an oil change. I always like to do the oil changes when the oil level, the percentage is at 50-60%, so double what it should be. So an oil and filter. And then while it's, I'm going on a bit, and while it's up in the air, I'm going to have a look at where the boost control module is, possibly get it off and take a picture of it, get a code off of it, a part number, because a lot of the places that I rang didn't have them in stock, and the ones that did said there was two different types. So, but I believe they're getting mixed up between the EGR and the boost control solenoid, which I think are in similar places, and they look very similar. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get it up in the air. We're going to do an oil filter change, which I'm not going to video, no point, easy on these. And then I'm going to scan the codes, and then I'm going to have a look at this control module. I'm going to get one ordered, and then I'm going to show you guys fitting it, and then obviously keep you updated as to actually whether it solves the problem. There, right, let's get on. I found the valve, which is, people say this is an easy job. I don't think it's that easy, under that easy. I can't even point a camera at it. It's not that easy, is it? It's behind, there it is there. Okay, so you've got two bolts that look like top and bottom, look like 10 mil, and then you've got your two vacuum connections here, which I'm assuming they need to be connected the right way round. Is that an arrow on there? I can't really see. And then you've got your electrical connector, so the security red tab on there. So that's it there. I've got the part number off of it. So we're into the diagnostics. I'm not going to go through all of this because obviously it's going to be boring. I'm going to go into engine. Yep. The code menu. Codes. So we've got engine underboost 0299. So this is, don't worry about that. I know what that is. So yeah, okay, and it's saying history because obviously it happened and it isn't anymore. Right, so that's it for now. So I'll be back. It will be seconds for you, and it will be probably a week for me. So I'm going to get the boost control valve, change it over. I'll try and show you as much of that as possible, and then obviously we'll keep you updated. So I'll see you in a bit. So it's a week later, back on the wife's car. You can see it's moved ramps. So I've got the boost valve, bought it off of eBay. I bought an original, supposedly, part, so obviously we'll look at the old one to see whether, it doesn't say GM on it, but it might be a Delphi or something like that, and that might have been what they used originally. So anyway, I'm going to get it up in the air, I'm going to get the undercover back down, and then I'm going to mark the pipes. There's 2 pipes, I want to mark which one is the right one, unplug it, unbolt it, and I'll show as much of that as I can. Right, let's get on with it. Just to give you a bit more of a lowdown how this valve works, is you've got this vacuum operated actuator which is connected to this rod, which goes in here and controls the vanes on the inside of the turbo. So either the vanes closed for no boost or the vanes open for more boost, or the other way around. I'm not 100% sure which way it works. So basically you've got this pipe here, and this goes all the way to this metal pipe, and this metal pipe goes all the way down, around here, down there, along there, around there, and it goes to the valve, which is at the back over there. So basically what it uses the vacuum pump on the engine to create vacuum, and that valve either opens or closes or modulates to allow this. I don't know if I pull this off, if it will do anything. It'll lose the vacuum. No. So this will suck on that, and that will pull this rod in and out. So that's how the valve works. I don't think this turbo is electronically controlled. I don't believe it is. It just uses vacuum. So this is the new boost control solenoid. That's the part number. So that's basically it there. 2 bolts hold it on. I think they're 2 10mm. You've got your 2 pipes, and then obviously you've got your connector. So it was supposed to be an original part. So I paid a little bit more for it because I wanted an original part. I didn't want a cheap part. Okay, so we know where it is. It's up there. So I'll burn my hands on everything hot under the 2 bolts. I'm going to mark the pipe. I'm not going to be able to video this for obvious reasons. I can barely see it as it is. And we'll get it off and I'll tell you what we find. I've unplugged the connector. Now I'm assuming this red tab on here is a locking tab. I can't work out. I've tried to put the pick in there, pull it, twist it, push it. So all I did is put the pick underneath, put the pick in there, and then literally just levered the whole thing away and then just pushed it up and it popped off. The trouble is I can't really get 2 arms up in here because of the gap. The gap isn't really big enough, and this hand doesn't really fit in there either. So I'm not quite, my hand doesn't reach through this gap. My arm, I should say, so I can only get a pick up there. I can't get my hand up there. It's as far as I can reach. So I'm hoping that's just going to clip back on without having to release that locking tab, and it goes back on, because normally you release the locking tab, then push the clip and then pop it off, and then clip it back on, and then push the tab back in. So I mean, this cable here gets a bit in the way, but as you can see it a bit more clearer there. So 2 10mm bolts, and then I'll get those undone, and I have marked. Can you just sort of see that? I can barely see that, but I think like the tubes are kind of connected together, so I think it's a bit difficult. Sorry, it's quite easy to put them back on. There's the old part off. It looks exactly the same, and whatever writing it's got in here of the brand, I can't even make it out. Maybe you can make that out. It's the same one on there. So the only thing, I mean, I'm not going to be able to go, oh look, this is faulty, because it isn't. It works, but it's obviously got an intermittent fault. I don't know. This is just the next line. But the only thing I can show you is, you won't be able to hear this, but this, if you shake it, you won't be able to hear it. It's not doing it now. But when I shook it earlier, it's making like a little tiny rattling noise, and that one isn't doing it. Put it next to my ear and shake it. It's got a little tiny, so it's probably just wear, and that could be making it stick. I cannot physically get 2 arms up in here, which is what creates most of the problems, but they're the 2 pipes. One is bigger than the other, so it is actually, one is bigger than the other. So it's just awkward. I've undone these 2 8mm bolts here, just to, I can get my hand up, my other arm up this side but I can't get up. My forearm's just too big to be able to get. Ideally you'd want two hands up there, but what I did to push the pipes off was put the screwdriver on the end of the rubber pipe and then just sort of pushed it off and they popped off. So that's it back on. To be fair, it was easy putting it back on. The electrical connector just went on, the two bolts went in, and you can see that white mark I put on that one furthest away to the left. That's the one that went on the top. But as I say, they're two different sizes, so it'd be pretty difficult to get it wrong. It probably would have been a 10-minute job if I'd done one of those before and you'd done loads before. Yes, it probably is a 10-minute job, but it was just awkward. It was just awkward. Trying to get it off and getting two arms up there, and you know, so it's more an awkward job than a time-consuming job. So fitted it on, come back in, and I'm checking the codes. There are no codes, just that one there for the circuit, which for the cruise control. So when I cleared it last week, she's done, I don't know, however many miles she's done, a few hundred miles, and it hasn't come up with a pending or a fault from then to now. So this is going to be a long-term thing that is going to obviously show its ugly head maybe again in the future. Right, so that's it. There's the video on how to change a boost control solenoid on a Astra J 1.6 CDTi. Hopefully that was helpful to you, you know, to show you actually how the valve is changed, which is relatively easy to do. It's just the location is a complete sea head. So that's pretty much it. I hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Helps the channel, helps me want to record more videos and put more content out there. So thank you very much, and I shall see you in the next video. Cheers.